Now while you're watching this video, please remember to like, subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon for notification of future videos and share this video also. Thank you. Hello there, welcome back to my channel. So good to have you guys here with me once again. Today is Wednesday, and based on our schedule, Wednesday we deal with social issues. And as you can see, the title suggests overcoming my suicidal thoughts, my story. Now this is basically a continuation of a video that I did last week, this time about self-esteem. How I moved from having a low self-esteem to having a strong self-esteem. This video is a continuation of that video. Right? Now, overcoming my suicidal thoughts. Now, because of the things that I've been through, you understand, as a child, the silent battles that I faced which no one knew about, and most of my battles had a lot to do with my mother. You understand? Yeah, I had a bad relationship with her, and as a result of that, it caused me to have a low self-esteem and made me vulnerable. You understand? Vulnerable to just about anything that anyone would throw at me, where words is concerned. If they're telling me what they think about me, however negative it is, I would just absorb it because I thought low of myself. You understand? And one of the things that made it difficult for me, as a child growing up, is because I could hardly find persons who share the same pain with me, because it's normal when you find a deadbeat father, you understand, in this day and age. But when it is the mother, it's a rare case. So because I couldn't find persons that they have the same relationship with their mother, it made it all the more depressing for me, and it further put in my mind that perhaps I am of no worth, that something is wrong with me, because hey, everybody and their mother, they are so mellow with their mother and so forth, and with me, it's like I felt like I had to try and force myself on my mother. I felt like sometimes like she was just pushing me away and so forth, and she did all kind of things that brought me to tears oftentimes as a child, growing up. The emotional hurt that I feel sometimes that comes from my mother. There are times when it become that there are times when it, I wonder if I'm loud enough. Let me try to project my voice. There are times when the things that I go through, with my mother, it becomes unbearable at times as a child. Like I remember one incident, when I had a friend that I used to go to school with in high school. I think I was about in 7th grade at that time. And my mother said something to me. I don't remember what it was, but I know that it was something very awful. And my friend was like a few inches away from me when she said it. You understand? I was on my way to school with him, and I felt so hurt. I mean, my friend could see the facial expression and asking me that what's wrong, because he noticed a sudden change in my facial expression, despite the fact I was trying to hide it. He's a male friend, and we know as a man, the next man see or cry. We are inclined to think as men, culture, that when you cry and stuff, you're soft, and especially you're there around your friends and so forth. I never wanted him to see that. You understand? So I went on the bus, and on the bus I held my head down because it pained inside so much that I couldn't contain it. And I just wept in the bus while my head was down, because I never wanted anyone to see me, and especially I didn't want him to see me. And then as soon as I'm finished, I would just wipe out my eyes, and even he could tell that something is wrong, but I just brush it off and say I was sleeping, so that's why my eyes look the way it looked, because I was sleeping. That's just one of the many instances. I spent several times, when you look on my pillow, soak, and a lot of times it has to do with emotional pain and battles and so forth, and most of it stem from the relationship with my mother. You understand? There are other persons, that I got stuff from that hurt, but I mean they're not around anymore. But when it's your mother, it's like it's hard to get away from, because your mother is going to be in your life unless you decide to just stay away from your mother, which is not very easy to do. You understand? Because it's your mother. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, and there are some other things, many other things that as a child, the memory of it, I still remember. I still remember them. And it was so bad with me that I thought of taking my own life several times over, from I was a child going on to my teenage years. You understand? Because I felt of no worth, I felt of no value. I felt like I'm not important, to anyone. And there are times when I even used to question God, question my own existence, and ask, why was I born? Was I an accident? You understand? What is my purpose in this life? What does God think of me? You understand? And there are so many questions that I have in my mind. Wondering if my mother wanted to dispose of me from birth or something, and probably because of religious reasons, why she never like abort me and stuff, or why she never give me away. Maybe it was to save face. But there was somewhat of a confusion in my mind, though, because I'm saying to myself that in terms of finance, she spend money. You understand where that is concerned. And when it comes to like my clothes, she always wash my clothes and stuff. I have food to eat, I get food to eat from her and stuff. But apart from that, she was not involved in my life like that. When it comes to parents, teachers, meeting and so forth, my mother has never been to one of them. You understand? In all my entire life. So she doesn't know what's going on with me, like from my teachers and so forth and things. She's not aware. She's like, she's just as clueless about me as I am clueless about her. Now this video is not, I'm not making this video as an attempt to bash my mother or anything. You understand? But I'm just saying, I'm just giving this video that, hoping that it might reach someone who may be in similar circumstances. You understand? That maybe under watching of this video, they will be inspired to feel hopeful that there are better days ahead. Because despite the things that I've been through as a child, there were indeed better days ahead, and those better days I have come to experience. But I'll soon get to that. How did I overcome these things? How did I overcome these things? So, as I was just saying, my mother is not aware of a lot of things where I am concerned. And I felt that if she had even been to one of those parents teacher meeting, she workshop and so forth, she would have had some instruction as to how to rear up a child. You understand? And thing, because my mother is totally clueless where that is concerned. Clueless. I mean, I have a younger sister and a younger brother. Where my younger brother is concerned, she is more involved in his life, and I think it's because of she has, well, in some way she don't have a choice because his father is not around. Whereas with me, when things got so bad, you understand, with me and her, I decided to stay with my grandmother, and my mother was totally cool with that. The funny, ironic thing is, she was cool with that. So these are some of the things that made me think in my mind that I wasn't wanted. Because I'm going to leave, and some mother would say, oh no, whatever, is like, she was like glad that I left. That's how I felt as a child. Like, she was glad that I left. I was the and you see, it was easy for me to get to stay with my grandmother because I'm the first grandson that she grew, the first grandchild. You understand, that she grew. So, and she has mostly females. Her children, 8 of them, 7 are female, are females, and one son. 7 daughters, one son, and she never grew her son. So as a result of that, as the boy around, It's like me and my grandmother was like this. She was the person who grew me up in church, buy my church clothes, and when my mother is not around, she's there. She comes to school. If there's anything, it's always my grandmother. That little part that my mother doesn't feel, my grandmother feel in that part. You understand? So feeling unwanted because of how my mother treated me, and it making me vulnerable and stuff, I thought of ending my life several times growing up. But the one thing that prevented me from doing such was fear and the fact that I grew up in church. Because then I thought to myself, based on what I learned in the church, if I commit suicide, then I'm lost. You understand? If I commit suicide, I'm a lost person. And I said to myself, I've been through so much as a child. And to just end my life, you understand? And then end up lost in hell forever. I said to myself that it's like I suffer in this life, and then like in the life to come, there's further turmoil. So so then I said to myself, it doesn't make any sense. I'm going to hold on, because if there is a God, which I believe that there is a God, I held on to the hope that in time I will understand from him why I was created. You understand? So I will know why I was created, and I will know what my purpose was. So I held on to that hope dearly. You understand? Now, by the time, let me see, where do I reach now? I held on to that hope dearly. But what caused me to really overcome those suicidal thoughts is when I build a relationship with the Lord. And as I grew up, things kind of get somewhat better. You understand? And I had established, little by little, I began to establish a relationship with the Lord. As a child, I never used to study my Bible, even though I was baptized at age 13. And one of the reasons for that is that technology wasn't at its peak now, and there was only the King James Version. See me yawning again? Sorry, there was only the King James Version around at that time. Right? And I couldn't understand it, the language and so forth. So Bible study was hard for me, so it was difficult for me to understand the Bible. So as a result of that, I just leave the whole Bible thing alone completely. But by the time I became age 16, 17, 18 onwards, you understand, having failed throughout school still, and as I said before, my lesson, schoolwork and stuff was very much affected because of the things that I battled inside. So I had to resit, and when I resit, though, I was successful. You understand? But as I started to work, you understand, and get my own money, and build myself, you understand, little by little my self-esteem began to grow. You understand? And then by the time I recommit, having left Adventism, at age 16 I made mention that I switch over to the Adventist church and backslide, and the works. But in 2015, which at that time I think I would be 24, I recommit in the SDA church. And by then my understanding was greater where the Bible is concerned. So I established a relationship with the Lord, and little by little I began to find my purpose. You understand, and understand that God created me for his glory, and that he loves me irrespective of the things that I've been through, irrespective of what persons say, and irrespective of how my mother made me feel. You understand? So when I used to think in myself that I was the problem as a child coming up, as I got older and especially got to know the Lord, I realized that there is no way that I could be the problem. So the next question that follow is why does my mother act the way she does? I could understand why, no. persons act the way they act and why they treat me the way they treat me. Persons that have been around, you understand, and the negative things that they say about me and stuff. I can understand that we are in a fallen world. You understand? But not very often I find mothers do the things that my mother do to me. You know, the verbal and emotional abuse. There was even some form of physical abuse, you know, as a child growing up. I'm not going to talk about that. I mean, it is too sad for me to even mention it because the memory is there, you know. As a young child, probably under 5, I could remember something that my mother did. You understand? But I realize in myself that I am not the problem. But why? Why I ask myself the question, why does she behave the way she behaved? So in 2015, I decided to come stay with my mother. It's like in my heart, I still wanted to form a relationship with her despite how she treated me. I wrestled with believing that my mother hated me. I never thought that she hated me. But I couldn't understand why she act the way she act. You understand? And deep down, I just wanted a bond with her that I never have. I felt incomplete, like an empty vessel. I hear oftentimes people talk about their mother and so forth, and I can't say the same. I don't know her, I don't understand her, and it's the same for her. She doesn't know or understand me either. And if she should be watching this video, she would be surprised. You know, after many things that I got through as a child, my suicidal thoughts, of which no one know nothing about, the silent battles and stuff that I face. You understand? So I came to stay by her in order to build the relationship and to more understand her. But guess what, guys? When I came around her, you know, there was still some of the same things, you know, happening that used to happen when I was a child. You know, still some of the same, still some of the same behavior and stuff. But it reached a point, you know, where I was almost on the verge of giving up because she thought I came by her for a particular reason, of which I'm not going to say. You understand? But those are of it's kind of swing on a materialistic order. Like maybe she think that I come by her because I wanted to somewhat benefit from her or looking to rock on someone or something. That's what she thought in her mind. You know, because when I leave Adventism and stuff, you know, I lost a lot. And it was when I came by her, 2015, it was the time when I joined the SDA church. I shouldn't say when I leave Adventist. When I joined Adventist church, I turned my back on a lot of things. You understand? And which affected me financially. So she thought in her mind that I came by her for that particular reason. But that wasn't the case. You understand? That wasn't the case. I came by her to establish a relationship with her, which she's not aware of. So when I saw her started to behave the same way as how she was when I was a child, then I was saying to myself, boy, kiss my, I guess you just have to give up this mission of yours. Everyone, we are not all meant to get everything that we want in life. And maybe this is one of the cases where I just have to learn to love her from a distance because I intend to move from her eventually and go on my own. You understand? But when it rains, it pours. Because she started to attend church quite often. And I have to say that I'm starting to see some changes from her. You know, little by little, I start to see some changes from her. She's not there yet, you know, 100%. But I would be lying if I should say to you that I'm not seeing any changes whatsoever. I would be lying. So she starts to change little by little. And even though I'm seeing the change, there is something in the back of my head wondering when the old she is going to chip in, because there's just this paranoia and this fear, wondering how long is this going to last, how long it's going to last when her old self is going to chip in. Because I'm telling you, when it comes to parenting and stuff, my mother sucks at it terribly. You understand? And I felt that if she had attended at least one of the workshop and stuff when I was a child, she would have better skill in knowing how to properly be a mother, just how to be a mother. You understand? When it comes to comparison, she would often even compare me sometime with other people and make me feel as if I'm the worst. Like, if it's up to her, I wouldn't have a self-confidence. I have to learn to have self-confidence and cultivate self-esteem on my own, because if it's up to her, I wouldn't have any whatsoever. And I don't think she does anything intentionally. She just doesn't know what she's doing. You understand? So this is my burden where my mother is concerned. But I'm seeing changes, and I have to give God thanks for that, because I was on the verge of giving up, thinking that this is something that I'll never get in this life. You understand? And I've also gotten to realize the reason why my mother acts the way she acts. So all the time I was thinking it was me, I realized that it was her. You understand? I'm almost about to finish this video, right? So to sum it up, I would say that I overcame my suicidal thoughts as a result of getting to know the Lord. Different circumstances began to change as I got older. I started to work and get my own money, and I started to basically flex and hang out with different people and so forth. So I worked on myself. You understand? Which helped me to get a stronger self-esteem. You understand? And I build a relationship with the Lord. So this is the key, you know. You understand? In overcoming suicidal thoughts and having a strong self-esteem. It is to work on yourself and hold on to the belief that there are better days ahead. Trust me, it doesn't matter whatever situation you're in now, I can attest to that there are better days ahead. So hang on, no matter how hard things are, just hang on. And if there are things emotionally that have you perturbed and confused, trust me, in time, you will get the answers that you're looking for. Whatever is going on in your head that causes you to think that maybe you need to quit and to take your own life, rebuke that thought, because there are better days ahead and you will get whatever answer that you're seeking for. I wanted to know why I was created and what is my purpose and what does God thinks of me, and I end up get the answers of all of them in time. You understand? And learn this lesson, as I say, being around my mother now, I little by little started to get to know and understand her and listen the things that she say. You understand? And based on what I got to learn, I realized that there's a source as to why my mother is the way she is. So sometimes when persons treat you the way that they treat you, you would be tempted to think that it's you and something wrong with you. No, my friend. It's them. That person who sexually abuse you, whether it is your father, your uncle, your cousin, whoever, you understand, somebody close to you, it's not you, it's them. That person who physically abuse you, your boyfriend or whatever, it's not you, it's them. Those person who say all kind of things about you, you're fat and you're slabber, or you're mager, you're skinny, or you're ugly, or your nose bigger, your head bigger, your lip bigger, you look like this or you look like that. It's not you, it's them actually. You understand? You need to understand in yourself and see yourself as how God sees you, because in a world like this, don't expect that people are going to always say kind things to you. You understand? Don't expect that they are going to say kind and positive things to you all the time. Neither are they going to do positive and kind, good things to you all the time. No, this is a fallen world. So because of this, you have to cultivate a strong self-esteem and understand that you are great and that you are special in God's eyes. The Bible says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You understand? Concerning the gospel, as I'm about to close, Jesus says, at any time you feel like taking a life, remember this. I'm going to read from Luke chapter 4, verse 17 onwards. Concerning Jesus, it says, and there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found a place where it is written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. Remember, I know, the broken-hearted and them that are bruised. I was a bruised and broken-hearted individual. It is Jesus' purpose to set at liberty those persons that are bruised and broken-hearted, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. You understand? The scripture also says, because suicidal thoughts doesn't affect non-Christians alone tonight, it even affects Christians too. Romans chapter 8 verse 18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature or creation waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature or creation was subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who had subjected the same in hope. So it is telling that, that the creation, it was subjected in vanity, but it wasn't done willingly, It is because of sin. But he that subjected it, he subjected it in the same in hope. So never lose hope. It doesn't matter what is happening in this fallen world, this vain world. The scriptures say it was subjected in hope. This light affliction that you feel now, trust me, it is not worth the glory that shall be revealed in you and I. You understand? Lastly, 1 Corinthians 4 verse 17. Our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Revelation chapter 21 tells us, it gives us a glimpse of the things that we don't see, which is eternal. Revelation 21 verse 1 onward says thus, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And here's the fun part. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, no more sorrow, no more crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So this is my message to you. This is a message of hope that we find in the gospel, in the word of God itself. So hold on, because when then I'm saying to myself, Kismar, I can't believe that you are going to take your own life. There are so many things that I'm capable of doing right now for the Lord based on my calling. I'm really happy that I didn't take my life. So I'm telling this to you. If you are tempted about doing this, don't do it. You understand? There are many persons there right now who you would hurt. You understand? Because while I was selfishly thinking of taking my life because of the negative things that I'm going through, there were some positive things there, You understand that my eyes was blind to seeing it. My dear grandmother and some of my aunts, and there were still some persons who valued me and loved me. But I caused the negative ones, the hate that come from some, and the bad relationship with my mother to blind my eyes. So it's not as bad as you think it is, guys. Trust me. It doesn't matter the situation, you can get through it. You understand? You can get through it. It is just for a moment. And as I said, whatever answer you're looking for, you will find it. You understand? Whatever have you confused, things will become clear to you. And it has become clear to me, especially where my mother is concerned. Now in my next video, I'm going to tell you the revelation, the things that I discovered, you understand, about my mother that caused her to act the way that she act. It is a social issue, that we have to deal with. You understand? So stay tuned for my next video. Bye bye now.